And now we should be going live on all the platforms. I can close this one. I can just put it into my Telegram finally. And boom. Okay, so that should be it. Let me pull up my secondary monitors so that I have a live view. Boom, boom, boom. Back to Twitch. Okay, let me see. Should be able to open my own one here. /MPCSS. Sure. Connected to chat. Open up mod view. Okay, that should be good. Hey Marte, welcome, welcome. Happy to see you. See Luc is in the chat also already. Nice. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're good. Sorry. That's all set up. I think that should all be fine. Let me mute my desktop just in case for notification stuff. Put this in focus. That's also fine. I should probably scroll in a bit. Do I have any uncommitted changes? Let me see. I did a whole bunch of stuff for day 7, but I'm not going to commit that one. I think this one cleaned up some things. I haven't refactored day 8 yet, so I should probably still do that. Hey Luc. Martin says, happy to see you. Same here, happy to see you too. Boom, 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 boom. Check in. Blah, blah, blah. Check in before day 9. Still have not refactored day 8. Okay, so that should leave us up to date. Okay, close this one up. I must say, the last few days I've had a lot of fun streaming. So I want to thank everybody that keeps joining, because you are the guys, the people that make it fun for me as well. Smap says, hi, for some reason Twitch isn't loading for me, so I've migrated temporarily. No worries, you're welcome on YouTube any day. I still need to get like 2,700 hours there, so the more the merrier. Nah, it's fine. I can understand why people prefer Twitch, because it just feels more community-like. So I get it, I get it. So let's see. Yeah, I think we can start. I tried to stay away from the Discord as much as possible. I've read some stuff, but luckily everybody is kind enough to use spoiler tags, so everything is all marked up. I should probably scroll back to the beginning to make sure that I go day 9. This is day 9. Finish part 2, day 9. Let's see who was the first. This was the Zig one. We reviewed that on stream. So yeah, I think day 9 starts here. So I'll leave it here for later. Let's see. Smap says, I'll have to leave probably before you finish, so I'll leave it running for the hours. That's appreciated, thanks. It also fills me a bit with dread that this won't be an easy day. So yeah, I think we should probably start reading. Maybe I'll just take a sip of coffee first. I made myself a cappuccino. So. Hey Nineberry, welcome, welcome. Let's see, day 9, movie theater. I guess this should be hard because there's only 12 days. Just a few more days, I forgot about that. Nineberry says, geometry is my nemesis. Okay. If this requires any kind of prior knowledge and algebra skills, I might be in trouble, but we'll see. Yeah, let's see how I do. Look, Lightning says, actually, it isn't really that hard. Yeah. I'm not talking to you anymore. Let's see. Movie theater. You slide down the fire pole in the corner of the playground and land in the North Pole Base movie theater. The movie theater has a big tile floor with an interesting pattern Elves here are decorating the theater by switching out some of the square tiles in the big grid they form. Some of the tiles are red. The elves would like to find the largest rectangle that uses red tiles for 2 of its opposite corners. Okay. They even have a list of where the red tiles are located in your grid, your puzzle input. For example, bloop. Okay. Showing red tiles as hash and the other tiles as period. The above arrangement of red tiles would look something like this. Okay. So in this case, it would be like this one with this one. It's probably the largest area. Because you would take the biggest Manhattan distance between the two, and that would give you the largest area, I suppose. No, that's not true. The one where they are closest to each other, multiplied. Okay, let's see. You can choose any 2 red tiles as the opposite corners of your rectangle. Your goal is to find the largest rectangle possible. For example, you could make a rectangle shown as 0 with a blah, okay. So in this case, what you could do is just get all the permutations and calculate them. But you can start by taking like the first most obvious candidates. Let's see. For example, you could make a rectangle shown as 0 with an area of 24 between the blah, 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 okay. Or you could make it like that, or you could, sure. Ultimately, the largest rectangle you can make is the... Oh wait, did I miss something? Oh, with 2 opposites, okay. Yeah, thing on the rectangle, sure. The largest rectangle you can make in this example are 50. So why doesn't it use this one? Because there's a red one in between or something. Let's see, because the examples, it says, let me zoom out because I actually want to see more of them now. So let's see. But this one is above, so why would that be an issue? So they have like, let's see, you can choose any 2 red tiles as the opposite corners of your rectangle. Your goal is to find the largest rectangle possible. Why am I already... Because they used 3, not 2 every time. It's interesting. This map says, all I can say is part 2 wasn't easy for me. Well, part 1 isn't easy for me right now, but it's a bigger surface x times y. Yeah, but if this is the rectangle that you can make, why use this one if you can use this one? That's what I don't get. They say this is the largest rectangle, but if I can pick 2... Oh wait, what, there was not one here. Never mind, never mind. There is no red tile upload. Sure, got it. Yeah. I was being a dum-dum. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Sure, got it. Like, yeah. Area of 50. Okay, let's see. Day 9. Day 9. Input is here. This is something that they need to improve for Visual Studio 2020. When you paste in something squared into, or something that's aligned into this, why have the big offset at the first one? It's weird. And it also doesn't stop here when you shift tab back. That's something they should improve. Let's see, for the benchmark, I need to update the name so that it shows properly if we want to run this. Okay. Smashes the penny drops, sure. Okay. Cons char red tile marker is hash. Boom, 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 boom. So here we do input 2 lines, map. This would be the red tile marker. So var red tiles is this. Using AOC 2025. Let me add this to the day 0 because for some reason I didn't have that in there. The test case for day for the first one was 50. At least the answer there. The map is not the input. Wait, what? Oh, did I copy the wrong thing here? Oh yeah, true. Never mind. Good point. Thanks. That's a good one. And it would be map as grid locations. And this would be 2 lines. This, okay. Sure. This. We only need the first one. Oh yeah, never mind, because we need to parse it in a different way. Thanks for catching that. That would be very obvious when I run the non-test input, but thanks for catching it quickly. So we do input 2 lines, select location, grid location in this case, grid location. And I don't have a cast for that, so we do this x dot and this needs to be parsed, so I can here select x dot as in 32s, but they might be bigger, so I can do it as int. This is my grid location even. This probably ends as value tuple, so I can do select new grid location x dot item 1, x dot item 2. So this is that then parsed. So now I can do list of grid location red tiles equals dot dot, like this. Okay. Marta, sorry I got a call, so didn't watch for some minutes. No worries, there won't be a test after. I love how dedicated everybody is. It's pretty cool. I'm just a regular dude doing some programming, but the way you guys make me feel like a celebrity from time to time, so don't let it go to my head, please. Let's see. Red tiles, I've parsed it out. These are the input tiles. So I think we would just do red tiles at get permutations to allow dupe false. This will give us all unique combos. For unique combos is this, and this will yield, right? Sure. So I could do select x as value tuple. That would work there. And then I could do a list of grid location A, grid location B, and this, and then we do it like this. So this would be all parsed out neatly into combinations. And we can also do int distance, so we can do that. Boom, 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 boom. Comma int distance. And then I can do another select here, which would do select x dot item 1, x dot item 2, and then we do x dot item 1 subtract this is a grid location, and I think I have a distance thing here, right? Oh wait, what? Okay, I think I just need to get a distance method here. So I can just do, let's see, where is my grid location? I can just do public int, these are ints, right? Yeah, int distance grid location other math.apps other dot column minus column plus math.apps other dot row minus row. Okay, so that gives us the Manhattan distance. So this will be dot just distance x dot item 2. I said 2. Okay, so these are the unique combinations with the distances baked in. I already had it up here, no worries. Okay, so now boom, 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 boom. These are the unique combinations and the distance between them. So now I can basically sort that. So I can take unique combos, order by descending, x distance, first far biggest is this. But this actually isn't per se the biggest surface. So I should probably not do distance, but make a surface thing. This would be int surface. Which would be this. So we need a surface, and let's also rename it here. So we do a surface, and then we wonder if we go outside of bounds there. Surface, and then we do actually p1 is dot surface. That's the program. Do day 9. Input string was not in the correct format. Let me see what I did. 44 comma. Ah, yeah, I need to split it still. I forgot to. I do this as in 32s, but I need to do split like this, and then as in 32s. My bad. Let's run it again, and I get 36. That's interesting. Hmm. I needed 2 plus 1, both of them, for the surface, so that makes sense. 36 is almost 50. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think I forgot to. Yeah, off by 2 actually. 1 and 1. Boom, 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 boom. Surface. Where is my thing? Let me see. And that's why having test cases is so useful. Boom. Because it's actually this. There you go. So let's do the real thing and see if we run into int overflows here, which might happen. Nope. Just inside of bounds. Not the right answer, it's too low. Okay. Let's see what I did wrong. Interesting. What could I have done wrong there? Let's look at the input before I do something here. What's in here? It's suspicious that all these values are so close together, or at least ranges are so close together there. I actually don't understand what I did wrong. Map says it would be just like you to make the easy bit hard and sail to the hard part. Well, if it would be long, it would... JVDL says, hi, another doozy today. Well, the thing is, if it would be long, I would have an error because I have protection set up there, but maybe I messed up there as well. I can try making this u-long, but it should give me an error if it overflows. U-long, well, I can just do this. Boop. Is there no method absolute? They are already in, so that shouldn't be an issue actually. But I can cast this as a u-long before I do the math here. That shouldn't matter. Let's see. Yeah. And actually, that is weird. I have protection set up to explicitly not make this a possibility. How is that How is that possible? I must have done something very stupid, for which I apologize. Woohoo! Easy part done. Okay. Yeah, this was too easy. Except I got an overflow button. Didn't. Can somebody explain to me how it's possible that I get an overflow when I have this set up? P2 makes up for... Yeah. I wonder how it's possible to overflow when I have this set up. Oh, wait. Could it be that it's because it's in this file? No, wait. I will go back to the code. That would be funny. That would be so funny. Add a project file. If it's because it wasn't in here. Let me see. Extensions, surface. What's my error list? Where is my error list? So I'll just do here, do long. Boom. Let's run this. If it throws an error now. Okay. So, lesson. You need to have that project setting in every project that you load, not only in the host project that runs it. Learn the lesson there. I wasn't aware of that. So for those who don't know, you can set something in your project file that says check for underflow, check for overflow underflow, which I have for my AOC code. But if you have your helper code in a different class library, you need to put it in that project as well, because even though you have a reference to it and it runs in this host, that doesn't mean that this code is also checked. So I thought I was safe, but I wasn't. So yeah, lesson learned. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. So that is that. This was already ulong, so we put it back here. Let's get the actual answer here. Boom. Time for supper, be back later. Okay, see you later, JVDL. Enjoy your meal. So let's go and see what part 2 has in store for us. Let's see. The elves just remembered. They can only switch out tiles that are red or green. So your rectangle can only include red or green tiles. In your list, every red tile is connected to the red tile before it and after it by a straight line of green tiles. The list wraps, so the first red tile will also connect to the last red tile. Okay. Tiles that are adjacent in your list will always be on either the same row or the same column. Sure. Using the same example as before, the tiles marked X would be green. Okay. In addition, all of the tiles inside this loop of red and green tiles are also green. So, in this example, these are the green tiles. The remaining tiles are never red nor green. The rectangle you choose must still have red tiles in the opposite corners, but any other tiles it includes must now be red or green. This significantly limits your option. For example, you could make a rectangle out of red and green tiles with an area of 15 between 7, 3 and 11. Sure. Or you could make a thin rectangle, blah, 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 blah. Red and green, area of 24. So they say this one. Okay, wait, it means, sure, so you still have to have the red tiles, but it has to, inside of it, everyone must be covered by some area. Okay. Using 2 red tiles as opposite corners, what is the largest area of any rectangle you can make using only red and green tiles? Okay. Okay. Interesting. And somewhat annoying. Oh, Smap says, can I suggest you apply that check conditionally? I use this property group condition, blah, blah, blah. Check for underflow 2. Condition configuration, blah, for release. For, okay. So that you only do it in debug. You can do that, yeah. It's probably better to paste stuff like that in the Discord, but it's... I can put that in there. Actually, I can just copy paste this whole thing probably. Okay. Done. Edit project file. Kaizen Talk says, hi, welcome on YouTube. We're doing Advent of Code. Have you done Advent of Code as well? We're doing day 9. That's the link. We just finished part 1, and part 2 is a bit more work. So now I have to come up with a plan to fill it up. Kaizen says, nope. Have you done any Advent of Code? Are you into programming or just stumbled upon the channel here? Always like to see where people come from and if they like programming or if they've done the Advent of Code stuff themselves. It's a programming challenge. So Advent of Code is a yearly programming challenge. It's like a coding advent calendar. In previous years, there were 25 days that you can solve, with every day unlocking a new programming puzzle. So they have a fun challenge to solve every day, and they unlock. There's a part 1 that's fairly simple, and then there's part 2 that gives it a twist and makes it a bit harder. So if you enjoy programming, I can really highly recommend going to the site. You can solve it in any language that you want. They ask if it's in Python. You can solve it in any language of your choosing. You get an input file here. And not everybody gets the same input, so it's no use looking at my answers because you'll probably get a different one. And you have to take that input, apply the logic here, and you'll get an output that you input into the site. And if you do it well, you get rewarded with gold stars. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you like coding, I can highly recommend it. And like if you're at the start of your coding journey, what I would recommend is to just do like day 1 to 3 for most years and work your way up, because it gets harder the further along you go. So if you start, maybe just go to like 2015, do day 1, go to 2016, do day 1, do every year's day 1, and then move on to day 2. You won't get the full story that way because all the timelines will be a bit mixed, but as for ramping up your challenges, that might be better. Or you can just start with 1 year and just see how far you go and then go to the next year. maybe because of like there's a interconnecting storyline that might be fun to have part of it as well. So yeah, I can really highly recommend it, and lots of people do it in Python. And as well, if you get stuck with something, there are, for every year, there are like mega solution threads where people post their own solutions. So if you get stuck or not sure how to solve something, you can look at what other people did and learn from that, or you can ask for hints without giving away the answer completely. So there's a really cool Reddit community around Advent of Code. There are like 200, 300,000 people that do Advent of Code every year, or at least do one day every year. Actually, let's see, are there stats? I haven't even looked at it. It's a little bit less this year. There's like 150,000 people that did it this year, I think. It said, I want to get into AI. Can you suggest me something? That depends on what you want to do. Like for anything you want to do, it's good to get a good basic understanding of everything. LLMs are a pretty complex subject. So depending on what you want to do, there's lots of stuff to learn. Like when you say you want to get into AI, what do you mean? Would you like to learn how to train models and improve that code? Because like you have the LLMs, but there's also new ways of doing it with like HRM, and there are many different concepts in that field. But it takes quite a few years of studying computer science subject before you would be able to start dabbling in that, I think. If you just want to run an LLM and experience with it, there's lots of stuff out there. And actually the best way to learn how to do what you want is probably just ask one of the LLMs, like get Grok on Twitter, or open a ChatGPT account. There are some basic quotas that you can use, free credits, and just ask them, hey, this is what I want to learn. What would be the best way for me to get started? And they can give you all the up-to-date resources there. So it's a great tool for learning as well. So never just ask for a solution to something, just ask them, I want to learn this, what would be the best way for me to do? And they can really help you. They can even set up plans for you and stuff that you like for you to do. Luke is off to the gym. Good luck at the gym. I will probably be here when you get back looking at the challenge. Guys says, thanks man, that helps a lot. Yeah, no worries. Always happy to help. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to ask. But I can highly recommend doing the Advent of Code challenges because it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, enough talk. Let's see how we're going to do this because it's quite challenging now. Sparse Shing, welcome on YouTube. Nice to have you here. How did you discover me by any chance? I'm always curious to see how people end up in my stream. So if you don't mind sharing, let me know. And if you've done Advent of Code, feel free to share that as well. Over on Twitch, we have a fairly large community of people that do the challenges every day, and they are here as well. Smash says, I can switch back to YouTube while the Twitch ad plays. Yeah, good. Oh man, I had that. G says, only just got home, have to cook dinner now. Good luck with part 2. Thanks, and enjoy your dinner. Spar says, just recommendation. Well, thank you, YouTube, for the recommendation then. I don't know if you caught the first part. Like Advent of Code is a programming challenge that runs every year. And if you're into programming, it's a lot of fun. I can highly recommend it. You can go back to previous years and do all of them. So yeah, I'm doing day 9 now. I completed part 1. Now we have to do part 2, which is pretty difficult. So I'll have to work on that in a bit. Yeah, and Smap says I can switch back to YouTube while the Twitch ad plays. I was just saying that earlier today on Discord. I was watching back Kay's stream, Neoino, I think. She rated me recently. And she has like a very structured way of doing Advent of Code. Like she ignores chat while she's doing it. She reads the problem, then comes up with a whole plan, thinks about it, and once she has like a clear solution in her mind, she will go in and code the solution. So I was working today, and I always like to have something in the background going. I was like, okay, let's see how her process went and how they went. And I had the VOD on Twitch up, and I got like blocks of 5 ads every 5 minutes. I had 4 of those 5 ad blocks in just less than 20 minutes of watching the video on Twitch. So yeah, I can understand when you switch over to YouTube sometimes just to not get the ads. So yeah. Back to day 2. Basically, it's a list of lines, so that's why they were so similar when I was looking at it. I should have clicked back then. And usually when you do stuff like this, you don't want to write out every location. So now we need to make sure that we find all the interconnected parts that fill up a square. We had like the inside and outside bounds previously, I think last year or the year before, where we would have to make like the whole connection and then fill based on if it's inside or outside. And that was a pretty cool, like a technique to shoot a ray and just count how many times you cross the boundary. So that was fun to determine if it's inside or outside. But now we need to make sure that we build all the areas. This map says, yeah, 2023. Yeah, I have a hard time keeping track of these. My memory isn't great. So I'm just wondering, like, if this entire interconnected thing, if the closing of the loop is, if it's one big path or if there's multiple that cross each other. So that would be annoying. And the thing is, the distances aren't that great that you couldn't do every actual path, but I think we will just keep it with ranges. Because my instinct would be to just, the first thing that comes to mind when you do this is like, okay, you do exactly what it says here. You just get the 2 values and then you fill in the spots in between of them. But then you use like a whole lot of memory, and I don't even know how big the thing is, but it will be fairly big. Because the area that we had before for the solution was already bigger than could fit in an in32, so it's fairly chunky. So you don't want to fill in all those areas. So I think the approach should be to first get like those segments and record those. Like you zip every one of them, so you take each 2 connecting as a pair. So you take the first and the second, and you do the second and the third, and the third and the fourth, and every one of those is like a line segment. So you record those. And then I really would love it if they would just, if it was just one giant shape, but I'm not sure if it makes too much of a difference. And then you would have to do like a way to determine how you can chunk that up in the biggest rectangles inside of that, which is already your answer. But I just wonder, my eyes are watering, what would be the best way? Because you want to fill up like all these squares, you want to cover those, because you need to determine later, like, okay, is the 2 points that I'm pointing at, are they fully covered or not? Which is a bit annoying. So let's first do something that we can do, which is the line segments. Which would mean that we go back to the input here, and let's change our parsing. So we do 2 lines, and then we do this part, and this would be the new grid location. No, this is fine. I already have the red tiles. So we do zip. I think it's this one. Yeah. So this one would be like a list of grid location A, grid location B, and this would be line segments is dot dot this. So this is for part 1, so we can move this to part 1 because it should be here. We probably still need to. No, we can leave it there. Let me just put it there. Bloop. We leave it there. We also do this one now. Because we can use this in descending order to validate. We have like our biggest one, our biggest surface area, and now we all need to just validate. G says, yeah, just make an array of 4.5 billion points, right? Yeah, sure, why not? I have a lot of RAM, but yeah, it's not feasible. Smap says, we know from part 1 that the solution space is about 4.5 billion points, so I think that's the whole point of part 1. Yeah, sure. We just need to make sure that it's covered, that So I'm just like thinking about how we can make this part better, because this is the real challenge. I have all the lines. That's not the issue. Because what we need to do is break down all of these areas, so like you could have this part, and then you can have this part, and then you can have this part. And then you just need to make sure that you have the thing that you're checking falls totally inside of another. So let's say you have like a, let's say this is the map, something like this, and you have a candidate here, and you have a candidate, another candidate here. Let's say we would slice this up in like these areas here. What you need to do is just take out the part of the area that you need to validate that this one is fully covered. So you can subtract this and just leave over this, and when you've removed everything that intersects with this area, if there's no space left, it's a viable candidate. I think it's something like that, but first getting the big square, the big shape, and then dividing that into pieces. I'm just not sure yet how I'm gonna do that, which is annoying. So I have most of this stuff figured out in my head. I just need to know how are we actually gonna do this. And I think we could use like the raycast idea probably. Like that was the because all the things that we have in our code, like something like this, if we can check like how many times we cross a boundary, we know like it's inside, outside, inside, outside, like that. So what we could do if we want to test a certain area is just pick random locations in here, do the raycast, and just try and see if it works. But then you could have like, they could make like something sneaky that it would be like bzz, and just like a tiny hole here, and then you don't hit it. So yeah. So for me, still, I think the only viable way that I can think of doing this properly would be make the entire shape, then try to subdivide that into squares, and then remove all of those squares from the section that look at every square that possibly intersects with the area that we're looking into. And then if we manage to remove the entire area with all the intersections, or we merge those intersections and see if we get a square larger, something like that. But I don't have a clear plan in my head and I don't know where to start, so that is really annoying. And it actually needs to add the last one in here as well. So line segment of add, and this would be red tiles dot last, red tiles dot first. This is the last segment that we need. How to do this? I'm just thinking like what it's a pretty tough problem to solve. Because we don't know any shapes in advance. So like coming up with a plan to arbitrarily divide this into an area is really annoying. Akshay Telang says make polygon. Yeah, it is a big polygon in the end, right? But since there are so many, it's unpredictable in the way it moves, right? MS Paint. So you never know which end it would go up. It can do this and then go this way, and then it can do all sorts of these. So how do you determine? You start here. How do you determine when to do something? Because if you go left, like the triangle would be this, but this would be outside. And you need to map everything that's inside. So if you take this approach, you would want to do like you take, this is the largest rectangle there, then you make this one, and then you make this one, then you make this one, and then you make maybe this one, and then you take this one and that, and then you have your subdivided rectangles. But to come up with an algorithm that does this when you don't know which way it will turn or how it will shape is a bit hard to reason about, for me at least. Like when do you know, okay, I've done enough now to make that shape? and that's really hard. Because you cannot miss anything. You need to make sure that you've covered every tile. And the thing is, you only have these spots. These are your data points. It's basically a list of these points. So how do you go about constructing the rest from just these data points? And since the actual area that's covering it is very large, you won't know what to do until you've done enough of the work so that you, like I can see it visually now, but I would not know while I'm coding this how to go from all these separate dots here to go back to the squares. Amate says, I can give you a small hint. You make it a bit too hard. You can look at the example again and try to imagine it or draw in paint. What I could do is actually for each one of these is just try to shoot a ray. That's something that I could try first and see if I cross any boundaries, but that doesn't solve the problem where you have multiple Actually, I could just draw this. What was the scale here? I could actually just draw the shape. It's like 100,000, right? Is the biggest value. I mean, I could just divide everything by 100 and draw it. Might be fun. So, using graphics, VFX, this graphic from image BMP. Using bitmap, BMP is new bitmap. Let's make this, what were the dimensions again? Okay, let's see. Float scale is reptiles.max. Sure, and let's make it 1,000 pixels. Like this. And constant image size 1,000. Like this. System.drawing. Manage NuGet packages. Sure. Why is it complaining? I said using system.drawing. Why doesn't it do that? Using blah. Okay. Because with drawing graphics, sure. So we can do for each var segment in line segments. We could draw line pens.black segment dot a dot sure new point f a dot column divided by image by scale. Scale is a float, so let's then segment dot a dot row divided by scale. We do the same for b. Sure. Flush gfx save bmp Actually, you can save as PNG now, I think, right? Image format. I can just save it as a PNG. Sure. And then I can just use process that run boom. Come on. I'm fine. Is there no default image handler for PNG files anymore? Okay, that's nice. I probably need to fill because it's it's black. Brushes of white, new. Sure. Let's run this again and complain again about running it. I will never try to run a PNG again. I'm sorry. Should probably run it with MS Paint, but okay, why doesn't that work? Let's see why it doesn't like that. Quick watch. Why is it complaining? It's not in there yet. Never mind. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, I did the skill the other way around, didn't I? Yeah. Well, I could just do times, which is more efficient as well, I think, actually. Let's do it like this. Okay, let's run it again. Boom. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm still not getting an image. So let me see what I did wrong now. File location. Let me just set another breakpoint here. G says, okay, I've posted a small zip file in Discord for you to look at only after you finish part 2. It's basically my input converted into a big tile floor. Cool. Yeah, I was trying to do that here as well, only I'm messing up the scaling thing. I didn't. I only converted one of them. So times scale, and there's another times here that I needed to do. Boop, 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 boop. Actually, I could solve it by that, by just going, drawing it and then putting the red markers there and then seeing it. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Nice. Okay. So yeah, that's the upside of looking at your input and visualizing it, right? So basically, funny. While cool, it feels like cheating to abuse this. But that's just me, right? Looking at this, I could just now take something that just avoids this section and make sure that anything that crosses this area gets excluded. And then you just need to look for the fringes. Actually, now that I think of it, I'm doing this the wrong way. Well, not the wrong way, but this gave me a new idea. What I could actually do is take all my candidates and then take all of the lines and see if they go through it. Because right now, if a line passes through it, that means it's not contained. Spectrum says, not spoiler as it literally says this in the puzzle, but read this with emphasis in your list. Every red tile is connected to the red tile before and after by a straight line. Yeah, I know, but this shape is considerably easier than what I thought. Because in my mind, what I thought they might do, and this is just one of them. In my mind, I thought they might do something like this. Let's also do the, like, boom. They would make one like this, and one like this. And then they would do something like this. And then you would have to figure out those areas. That's the thing that I was thinking. Like, okay, they might do shapes like this, and then you have to fill out those maps and then see how they overlap. So in my mind, I was like, the fact that it crosses somewhere doesn't necessarily mean that it won't fit. But when you look at this one, now basically what you can do is, Smab says I was expecting a Christmas tree. This is actually just a bowl, a Christmas bowl. What you can now do is just take your biggest areas and then look if any of these lines intersect with it. And if they do, you can disqualify them. So that's what we do here, or what we do next. Const bool visualize as false. if visualize. Let me just comment this out, so if you want, you can have it, but we don't need it right now. So we have our unique combos, and they are sorted. They are not sorted, right? I do that here. I think we can just add this to the input parsing here. Like boom, order by descending. Oh. It would be item 3 because it's not cast to their type yet. Okay, order by descending. So this unique combos is now already sorted by descending. So the biggest candidate is first. So we can just, in here, we take unique combos first, that surface. So now what we can do is for each var candidate in unique combos, check if it intersects with any lines. If it does, scrap it. So basically, I think you go top left, bottom right. Let me just make a function for that. So I could do public, grid location top left, grid location bottom right, square, grid location A. No, fuck off with all the, sorry for my language. Don't show me all these. I hate the suggestions here. Grid location B. Okay. So this would be new grid location. Okay. Math.min A dot. Do I do row or column first? Row. A dot row. B dot row. Math.min A dot col. B dot col. And then we do another one of these, and then we do the max. Boom. What's the issue here? Okay, so this produces a square out of 2 locations, so it will give you the top left and the bottom right. So that's easier to check with. So we do var square is candidate A dot square candidate B. We just need other. Now I need to rename everything A, and this is other. Okay. So it doesn't matter how they're oriented, we'll get 2 corner pieces from this. Then we need to make sure that there is no line that ingresses into, so it can touch, but it can't ingress into that area. So let's see. So now we need to make those lines also for each var segment and line segments. Full match is true if match break. P2 equals candidate.surface. That is fine. Can be a long, not an oolong, so I should probably cast that over. Yeah, just to get back to what G said, it's allowed to use anything you found in the input to make it easier. Some of the earlier problems required you to do exactly that, and some problems can't be solved for all input, but only for specific input. The way that I approach this always has been to try and create a general solver so that if the input would change to something else that is not as nicely crafted, that it would still work. That's usually how I try to approach it. Now I just need to do like an intersection thing for each segment here and see how I do that. So my thinking is, if I go back here, paint. If we have a line like this or a line like this, we want to know this one before this one, and we want to know this one before this one. So we need to order it as well to just make the math easier. But yeah. Does it even matter? Okay. I'm just stalling because I can't figure out how I want to check this or what I need to check, because we need to make sure that both of the sections are outside of it, or one is inside, one is outside. So basically I think, and we can touch, but we can't be inside. So the edge is okay, but not inside. So if segment, I think we just need to check each point, segment dot A. Okay, let's see, segment A dot row, not row, row. Okay, let's see. If we want to compare this, and if we want to compare this against this thing, oh, and it's always like it's either horizontal or vertical. So based on that, there's only one thing to check. Let's see, if the row equals segment dot b dot row horizontal, else vertical. Okay. Smap says, I'm off to play a match. You better be finished by the time I get back in about 4 hours. Yeah, I think this is actually the only thing that I have to do. So if I can figure out how to do it, it should be fairly simple, but who knows. If it's horizontal, I just need to make sure if segment a dot row, come on, a dot row is smaller than square dot top left dot row so if it falls before it, it's fine, or segment a I can just call it int row is this. Actually, I can cache those here. So int row call. I can do row is call. Marta says, for hours, I need more snacks then. G says, have fun, Smaps UK. My guess is that he will finish it in less than 2 hours. Over or under? We should probably have a poly market entry up right now. Let's see. So if row is larger or equal than that, or row is smaller or equal. Okay, wait, no, this needs to be if it's smaller or equal, so it will be above, or it's larger than or equal to square dot bottom right dot row does not intersect. Else check call. All right, same here. Else if row so if call is not equal top left dot call. So basically I'm disqualifying every horizontal that's above this or below this. So only lines that exist in this, like in this area, we will check. Same for the verticals. If they fall before here, we don't check them. If they fall after here, we don't check. And now we just need to make sure that we check the other dimension for those. Okay, so now we need to make sure that if col is larger than square dot, no, okay, here we need to check both of them. So if col, and then we need to check b, is larger than square top left dot col, or and actually col is smaller than square dot bottom right dot column. or yeah, if one side of it is inside, then we're screwed. And this would be segment.b.column. Intersects with our shape. So we do match is false and break. Okay. This becomes row, 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 row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Some nightmare fuel for you guys. Sure. Okay. Let's see what was actually the test code, the test answer for part 2. 24. Okay. Let's see if this works. I'm very curious. True. Let's run this and see if this works. $40. Mwah, 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 mwah. Almost, yeah. Almost. It's not strict enough about something. So let's see. Console.WriteLine area candidate square dot top left square dot bottom right. Console.WriteLine line on row row from to blah. Actually, this is not correct. No, that's not true. One of the points need to be inside, at least. I'll just write out the test case and we'll figure it out. So this will be segment dot a dot column segment dot b dot column, and this can be in reverse order, but it doesn't matter for how we wrote it. So we can do right, and then we do console.WriteLine does not intersect. Something like this. We do the same here. let's do it like this so that we can do the right line here. Line on column goal. Boom, 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 and then we have does not intersect. Intersects, and else on same call not row. Okay, so these are the things that we check, right? So let's test this out and see what it does. Let's see. From 2, 3, which one is it? Dun, 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 dun. 50 between 7, 3, and 9, 7. 2, 3, and 9, 5. Okay. I should probably draw this out because this becomes hard to see. So you have from row 2 to 11, 1 to 5. We go to row 2, line on column 3, 2 to 7 intersects, okay. Yeah, this is really hard to actually, I should probably just draw it out, just to visualize, because that's way easier to debug. And I should probably not do this. And just keep going and do all of them. Int area ID is 1. So so let me just take this part here. So what we can do is this, boom. Let's see. Bitmap there is fine. Sure, this will scale it up properly. That all will still work. So here I can then fill my rectangle. Let's see. Martha says, not to worry, Nick has a way of making us think he's lost, and then 2 magical lines fixes everything. Martha says, I do hope he finishes within 10 hours. Well, thanks for the confidence there. Let's see. We do a black rectangle, and this one will be square dot top left dot top left dot goal times scale square dot top left dot row times scale, and then I need to subtract those. Sure, square dot bottom right dot column minus square dot top left dot column times scale. This needs to be like this. Five. What did I do? 1, 2. Okay. Sure. That fills our rectangle in black, and then we draw lines based on like this. Missy says, hi-oh, how are you doing? I did part 1, which was fairly straightforward. Then I made a visualization of the actual area. And now I'm doing part 2, where my solution is to take the biggest areas from biggest to smallest and then test if any of these lines go through it to disqualify them. And I did that, but I didn't... Sorry. Let me know when you're back and I'll keep talking, because I don't think you can hear me doing an ad. Let me know when it's done. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. So meanwhile, I'm going to draw the lines. It's not intersecting, so I will make it green. That made it back. Okay. I did part 1, fairly straightforward. Then I visualized the actual map that they did for part 2, and now my approach is to, when you have your largest areas, I will just check if there's a line going through them, and if it does, I will disqualify them and move on to the next one. And I did that, and I didn't manage to work it out for the test case, so I'm now going to I'm now going to draw the test to an image to see if my logic is wrong there. So I'm just gonna do that now and see if I can. So yeah, I was going to draw this one and this one segment A. Yeah, okay, so this one will draw the lines. This one is correct, so it's green, does not intersect. This one intersects, so I will draw it red. Red. And we call this one blue. So we have our 3 versions here. Still on day 5, okay. I don't know if that was one of the ones that I struggled with, but there were 2 that I got, that I struggled with. Missy says, I go at my pace. Yeah. I just hope that I don't spoiler it too much for you. So it's cool to have you in chat, but I hope I don't ruin the challenge for you there. This one will be red, and this one will also be blue. So based on the color, we might get some info there. Isn't a problem to me. Okay, cool. Now I need to save the image, and I use the area ID and increment them. Boom, 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 boom. So let's see, where are we here? So here I can do gfx.flush, gfx.close. No, okay, it would just be disposed, that's fine. So here I can do bmp.save, and then I can do test, and here I do area ID toString pad left 3, comma, like this. Sure. Operand increment must be a variable property or indexer. Does this make you happy, Mr. C Sharp? Yes, it does. So I start at 0 and I increment them like this. Missy said, I have double the work because while I'm doing it, I'm also thinking about it in a new language, Rust. Yeah, but it's a great way to learn new languages, right? So don't be too harsh on yourself and just enjoy the experience is what I would recommend. Okay, so now I've written them all out. So let's see. We have all of the areas here. So yeah, you see this one disqualifies it. That is good. This one disqualifies that one. That's good. Ah, this blue one is wrong. See? So that is what we need to figure out. And this is a blue column that is wrong. So let's figure that one out. So that's the benefit of visualizing it. You can see what I'm doing wrong. This one. Good luck with AOC. I'll continue my way. I'll leave you on in the back. Yeah, thanks. It's always appreciated. Boom, 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 boom. So what was my logic here? Row, row, row your boat. Sure. Okay, let's see. This was test 3. So this one was 2. So when we save the next, that would be this one actually. Okay. So let's see. We have our square. That is square from 2, 3 to 9, 7. And the segment is from 2, 5. Sure. To 9, 5. Let's see. This needs the boom, 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 boom. I mean, this one is false, right? Okay, but then we have the segment B, which is 2. This one is false. Wait. I need to check the opposite, I think, right? Yeah, I checked the wrong thing here. Because they need to be, this is what it would be if they are above it. So I have the logic here inverted. Right? Let me see. Let me think. Check rows, if it intersects. Intersection means that either one of them is within the range. So this will be the smallest number here, 2. So if this one is bigger than that one, or smaller than that one, so the wait. The segment here. Yeah, this is a vertical on the column. Sure. Okay. So row. So here I should check the columns. Yeah, okay, sir. We checked that it's in the column, so now we need to make sure that the row for this one needs to be inside of this. So we already checked that it's in this, like column-wise, it's inside of the area. So now we need to make sure that either one of them is inside this box to make sure that it counts as an intersect. So the logic for that would be the opposite there, right? So the row needs to be bigger than this one, and it is. But it needs to be smaller than this one, and it's not. But this one, oh, it can actually be fully, both can be inside, and then it would count. So my issue is here, it's if both of them are inside, if either one of them is inside, let's see, no. If it's in the column, if it's in that column, either, like the thing that I'm testing for is when one of them falls outside, but it's now fully contained. That is also an issue. Like it tested this one properly because it never went inside, but this one is fully inside, and because I have smaller and larger, then it doesn't take that, because one of them can be inside of it but not both of them. So this would mean like if this is larger or equal, and then and the other one, and then we have also one where it's just this but this. So these are the three ways that it can be, right? Rebuild and apply? No, okay, that would restart it. Let's see, is this area ID 12? Okay. So let's see if this updated it. Okay. Now it detected it, and I still need to do that for the other one as well. Here, see, this is the same exact case, so we need to fix that one as well. So I need to be, either one of them can be like this. So now if we run it again, but I can say, let me just test all of them just quickly visually, and then we can move on. So red is red, that one is red, that one is red, red, this one has a red one, that has a red one. This should be the answer then. This one is also fine, this one has a red one. Okay, so there are a couple of good ones. Let's do this. Let's see if we get the proper answer. 24. Woohoo! Nice. So yeah, I think we got it. Let's now I need to remove this part because, oh man. Okay, I'm just gonna do something like this because you might want to, I don't know for who wants to, but you might want to, and if you do, I'll save it in here. This is the version with the printing, so I'll just do a version here that strips all the image drawing out of it, because we don't want to do that here. And then we can run the real input. And let's hope this solves it. And there should be, I think, 1 or 2 like this. Okay. Test is false. Let's run this. Oh yeah, sure. Let's not do that. Let's take out all the debug write lines. I should make this a compiler flag so that it doesn't check it every time, but it's fine. Okay. Ah, your answer is too high. Damn it. I was so confident that I would get it. Responsive Qubect. Okay. Almost. Yeah, I probably... I was so sure that I would get it. What are we coding is being asked. This is Advent of Code. Let me share this with you. An Advent of Code is a yearly programming puzzle, a set of programming puzzles, and they unlock, they've been going since 2015, so this is the 11th year, and there's basically a new programming puzzle every day that unlocks starting December 1st. The programming puzzle exists in 2 pieces. You start with part 1, and when you solve it, you can do part 2. There's an input that you get, and you have to follow the logic. You put in the answer, and if you put in the correct answer, you can do part 2. So you can solve it in any language that you want. And it's generally a lot of fun. So yeah, today we have a problem. I've linked it so you can read it yourself if you want, but I can just quickly go over to it. And this year is the first year that we have only 12 instead of 25 because the creator is fairly busy. So the problem is you get these coordinates. These are red tiles and you need to make the biggest rectangle out of 2 combinations. So we did part 1, which was fairly simple. And now we're doing part 2, where you have to treat every coordinate in the input list as a line segment, and that builds you a whole file. And I coded up something, and I visualized it, because after visualizing it, this is the test input with all the items connected. Marta says, can I ask a question about your images for test input? The rectangles are black, right? Wasn't one outside of a shape, or did I see it wrong? Okay, let me just show it. I stopped drawing the line segments when we hit a red line, by the way, so it doesn't do all of them. So this one is the one from the test input. And it's, I think I have it the other way around. I do the drawing the other way around. I probably mixed up the X and the Y axis here. G says, my guess is definitely that the answer to part 2 is likely not close to the answer to part 1, just based on the image that you generated. I haven't visualized the answer to part 1 in that same thing, so I could do that as well. And it does seem to be outside. Yeah. Okay, let me... I could do a fill polygon, actually. Probably. I just thought of something. I just could do a fill polygon and then extract that shape and see if it's still, every pixel is still the right color. Abuse the system drawing thing. That would be funny. Let's see. How do I draw my lines? That would work too, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I need to go back to the, let's go back to the test input. Actually, I could draw out all the other cases as well. I mean, part 1 probably contains most parts of the ball, where part 2 is at most half of the ball. Yeah, yeah. That is probably true. So I should probably visualize like the top 10 of the actual inputs and see how that works out. Boom. Let's see. Let's do that, and I might want to no, that's fine. Let's fill up my disk with some images. So while this runs, let's look at what the code does. Should probably pause just to get a little thing here. Okay, so it intersects there. I should probably zoom it a little bit because it's actually 1000 by 1000, so we have some scale here. So I wonder which the first one would be that it didn't have. I should actually skip all of them and just write the one that works. So I should just do the one that says, okay, it's match. So we could do if match. Oh. Boom. Something like that. So I can just do this. So if I stop this again, and I just write out the ones that are matching. Let's see, looking at the shape, the solution would be P1 times 0.5 minus 2, and that 2 is the width of the intersection of the ball in the middle. Should be closer. Yeah. Is there something wrong? Let me just delete all the real ones here. So we generated 640 images, sure. Hey Proxy, welcome, welcome, thanks for the raid, appreciate it. Let's see if we saved something. How did your Advent of Code journey do? Did you do Advent of Code, and if so, how did it go? So welcome, welcome. Hi Sparkly Dark Matter, welcome. Okay, we have something to debug here. It's the 1200th one. Aha, okay. So it's another issue with how we visualize it. I'm doing part 2 right now. I visualized the test input as a shape, so I devised a strategy from that. And I think I can stop running the code now. Because as we can see, I made some test visualizations. I can show you here. Where I drew out the shape, and then I had my line intersection. So my approach for part 2 was I get the box. I still have the biggest ones, and I go each one of them from top to bottom, and then I check if there's any intersections there. And if there's an intersection, I say, okay, we can't use this. Proxy said, yeah, just doing the advent, couldn't do the weekend, so just did the day 8 and got stuck. So much thinking it was asking for different things. So yeah, I had the same issue yesterday. So I'm actually spoiling day 9 for you now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I spoiler day 9 for you right now. But I've gotten to a point where I made a mistake that I need to fix, and I'm just on my way to close all these test files. That's fine, cool. So I'm just gonna look at the real outputs here, because this one is where it says everything is fine. So here it has the cube, and it says that this one is fine. So I test this case, and it's not fine. So what I should do is set a breakpoint for this area ID, and then make sure that I go through the ones that say it's fine. Actually, can I simulate that? Because the issue that it didn't recognize is where they're both outside of it. It's bigger and smaller. So in this case, it's a vertical here. So, and it says here, it goes to this same, to this one, red or blue. So it says it's the same column, but not, this should say row. Okay, it's probably here the same, okay. So this logic still has a fault in it. So let me see. I have my row here. So if oh yeah, I only count for either. Okay, this is my problem. This is one, both of them inside, one of them inside and one of them on the edge. This is the other one inside and on the edge, and there is another one that I probably don't detect properly. That is when it crosses both boundaries. So let me see. What is the third one that I test here? If the row there is larger, but I need one that tests where it's smaller and yeah, this is fully inside. Yeah, this is where the other ones. Oh, I also test one here. I should do the same thing for this one as well, where one of them is inside, but I also need to account then for when both of them are outside. So the logic that I have here, I actually need to apply multiple times. So I should probably write a function for this, because this is getting messy, especially when I do it multiple times. Natty www says hello. Hello Natty, welcome. Proxy says I'll probably just go. It's past 4 a.m. So wishing you thanks. Yeah, get some sleep. 4 a.m. is very late. But yeah, thanks for the raid, and I hope you'll finish day 8 tomorrow and day 9 as well. So thanks for stopping by. How are you, Natty? And thanks for the follow, Proxy. Yeah, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Did you do the Advent of Code as well, Natty? Yeah, no worries. Hope to see you again soon. Let's see. I need to turn this into a function, because I'm pretty sure this is the way to do it. I just need to make sure that I do it properly. Yeah, let's write this out into a function, because it's like a combination of lines that I intersect. Because this one covers all of them when one of the pieces is inside. So I still need to do these two variants here as well, which is very annoying. Letty says, wow, another coder that uses right side file tree. Oh yeah, it's default for Visual Studio, the proper Visual Studio. So you probably see a lot of people that uses Visual Studio Code. This is the full Visual Studio, and that always has had the solution tree on the right side. So yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around this one. What would be the good way to write this? Because it's starting to get really ugly with so many of these. Because basically I would also have to do like plop plop and do it like this and this. Luke said, just got back from the gym. You got the second star? No. I'm very close, but not yet. So I still need to fix a small bug. And then I still need to make sure that I have the last case where both of them are outside of this one. So we can have one where I think I'm doing this the stupid way, because I probably need to, with overlap, I should just be able to check 2 points. Just like when we've done overlap so many times. So I should probably, okay, Natty says, I'm new here, can you show us what you're making? Yes, sorry. I've told it a few times, but we're doing Advent of Code. Thanks for the follow, by the way. Advent of Code is a yearly programming challenge, and it's a lot of fun. They started in 2015, so if you like programming, you can go back and do previous years. It used to be like an Advent calendar for programming. Every day would unlock a programming puzzle starting December 1st, ending on Christmas Day. And it's always a two-parter. So you solve part 1, you get to do part 2, which is usually a twist and a little bit more difficult. You get an input file, you have to provide a solution, so you can use any language that you want to solve it. There are over 100,000 people that do this every year, so it's a very large set of people that do this and have fun with it. There's a great Discord community, Reddit community, so if you get stuck on something, there's always people posting their code, or you can post a help question. So yeah, that's basically it. It's just a lot of fun, and it's people that love coding that do this every year. And if you search YouTube, you can see lots of people doing it, and there's always lots and lots of people doing it on Twitch as well. So if you're into coding and you like this sort of stuff, December is the best time of the year, because yeah, Advent of Code. So yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. So quick recap of today, you get a list of points. It started out in part 1, where you get a bunch of tiles. So if you put those tiles into a map, it would look like this. And then it says take any 2 and make the largest square out of it. So that was part 1. It's fairly trivial. Here you can see all the ways, and this was the biggest that you can make there. And part 2 is actually puts it on its head, and it says, well, those coordinates were in order, so you have to draw a line between each of them and then fill it in the end. And if you visualize it, it looks like this. And now you need to get the biggest shape that you can make inside of this area that's completely filled. So this is the area that would be filled, this part in here. And that's what I'm doing now. And the approach to do that is first to get all the areas, sort them by size, descending. And then I would look at all those lines, and I draw it here. If it's totally outside of bounds, it's green. If it's within bounds but not interfering, it's blue. And if it's intersecting, it's red. And G is back. Welcome. Probably red. Oh, he's leaving again. Okay, enjoy your dinner, G. Bye-bye. See you later. And so I still have a bug in my code where I basically account for every scenario except for this large one where both sides are outside. So I still need to fix that. Ja, smakelijk eten, G. Tot straks. So yeah, if you're into coding, Advent of Code is great, and if you want to get into it, let me just get a Discord link. People that enjoy coding usually join my Discord. I have a channel, Show Off Your Stuff, where you can share your code. So after I'm done, I will go over what everybody else did and look at their solutions. So feel free to do Advent of Code, share your code there. I'll drop it into YouTube chat as well. So if you want to share your Advent of Code solutions, feel free. The more the merrier. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I need to solve this case and make sure that I don't have any other edge cases. But I think that should be just about it. And I was just doing that and making this ugly set of if conditions where I'm scratching my head thinking like there should be a better way to check overlap of a square with a line. And basically what I always do is when you have a segment, there are multiple ways you can have overlap. I'm using the best colors. Bloop. And so these are the kinds of overlap. And usually what you do is to check if there is overlap, you make sure that the left side is before this side. So you compare these. So the thing that you want to check overlap with is you check the left side with the right side of what you want to check. And similarly, you check the left side of the thing you want to check against the right side, and they need to be on the other end. So anything that has their left side before the right side of the thing you want to check and the right side before the left side of the thing you want to check is overlapping. And that is what I need to do in 3D, so it needs to be in two ways. But since I turned this into a line that either checks a column or a column or a row, I should be able to just do this. But it also means that I have to sort my line into a left and right or top and bottom one. So that's what I need to do for the segment here. So we need to do call, let me just add a few more int values here. So I have const row from 2. So we'll just do it like this. If it's a row, this is a horizontal thing, so we do from is math.min segment, so call comma segment.b.column, and 2 is the same but the max. And then we can apply that. We do the same for the other case. Here it's vertical, so from becomes row, row, row leaderboard. I can't get that out of my head whenever I do this. So we no longer check all of this. So basically what we need to do when we need to check the column, and we think back to this, we need to check top left column against, needs to be smaller than. So if square.top left dot column is smaller than 2, and right, we check top left in this case. This is from, this is 2, so we check from 2, top left to 2, and we check bottom right to from, and square dot bottom right dot column is larger than from, and this now indicates overlap. So boom. So I'll go back now to my test case. True. And I will always write out this one. If not, test bloop. And here we do if test, we always write it out. So in this case, if we do a test run, we save all the images, and if we don't do a test run, we don't. So now let me just delete some of the images that we generated, same as the test ones. I'll just call it like this, so I have a new sequence of numbers there, and let's go. Did I enable test? Yes, I enabled test. So there. Boom. Part 2 is 0, so I think nothing intersects. Okay. Intersects, 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 intersects. So this is the one that it showed as a candidate, 2597. So I think that was the one that they also had. No. Okay, I'll need to check that. Let's, here we have the test v2 images. Okay, intersect is proper. This one is correct, that one is correct, that one is fine. Boom. This one is the one that it encountered. Okay, so it looks like all the test cases here work properly. Oh, don't even see the square here. Yeah, that's fine. Let's run it against the real code and see what it does there. Do I have the break logic here? Yeah, let's see what it comes up with. I didn't do the actual math here. P2 is candidate.surface. Let's do if P2 is 0, and then we do this. So I record the first one. I break here, so it doesn't matter. But for the test case I had before, yeah, no worries. It should be fine. Let's see. I don't remember the one that did work. There's one here. Oh, that was the one that I recorded before. I should probably remove all of the test writing there, because that one is holding it up a lot. So, and I actually forgot to commit in the meantime, so that's not good. Day 9, part 1 and 2 almost. So sorry for that. Let me push that and get rid of it. That's how they rendered movies in the 90s. With line by line, you mean? Okay, I think I have all of the right lines there gone, so. I mean, I could probably do a binary search. No. That would mean that I could skip over something. Okay, this is taking a long time. Oh, that's because I do all of the drawing. Line renewal is proper solution. Yeah. I actually do all of the draw line stuff here. I just never save it out. So I'm wondering if I do this, how many? 22,000. Okay. So it's a bit slow because I do a lot of jobs just in case I need to do something. So I should probably remove all of the graphics drawing at all. How many shapes were in there? Don't even know. But it's a good thing that it doesn't come up with a positive one fairly quickly. But I should have probably removed all the draw stuff, but I wanted to visualize it. But what I should probably do is write a function to visualize it, and then if it matches, then pass it the thing. Okay, I have an answer here. I'm gonna believe it completely, but let's look at the image that it made. Yeah, that looks about right. Woo! Nice. I'm really happy with this one. Sorry for the ears. I watched back my own video, and I know when I get excited, the radio or the mic will spike. So yeah, cool, happy, nice. I do want to clean this up a bit. Let me just say, okay, P2 works. Day 9 P2 works. At least I'm happy I went back to the drawing board with my overlap and got rid of all of those ugly if statements. Amate says, what did I say about one magical line? Yeah, that's true. Yep. And if you really want to cheat, if it's cheating, what you could also do, maybe that's fun. What you could do to make it more efficient is also sort your segments based on length and do the longest ones first. So what you could do, and we can bench that in a bit. Let me just make sure I go and clean up this code. I want to make a function that just gives out a bitmap. Draw, visualize. Spectrum says, now I'm dead. Sorry, my apologies. Draw, no, visualize. Look. So this would be the square definition is just a grid location, top left, grid location, bottom right, square. That's one part that I want to do. And then, yeah, I think that's all. That's all we need to draw it. So I can just do this whole thing. Boom. Will print debug is false. This, let's see. Amate says, Nineberry says, a co-worker who also does puzzles daily using Python just use the library. Her code is like 10 lines and most of that is parsing and fluff. Yeah. Marta says, we had a small conversation with G12345 on Discord. If you know the shape, sure, you can start from the longest edge. I assumed it would be more of a maze, so I didn't do that. Yeah. My reasoning for, in general, taking the longest edges first is because it just disqualifies most. Like the odds of a long line taking you out versus a small line taking you out is bigger because it covers more of the area, so the odds of intersecting are larger. So I think doesn't matter which shape it is, because you check more of the, disqualify more of the area that way. It's probably always best to sort by longest edge when you do this way. But I'm curious to see how everybody else solved it. I'm just really proud that I solved this. But yeah, it also kind of makes sense to do it this way. So I assume everybody just did this. So yeah, let's see. Let me first finish up this code, and after I'm happy with that, I'm gonna go and watch everybody's submissions in the Discord. So yeah, let's see. I can also do int image size is 1000. So boom, like that. Baldigon says, hey, how are you, chat? Yeah, I just finished and I'm really proud. So proud code daddy here. The steps that I took was, for part 1, it was fairly obvious. I parsed the input, did the combinations of every 2 lines, get the biggest one. G says, my solution is basically just visualize the picture, do a flood fill, and then check all the pair of points. Yeah, sure. Okay, it's cool that other people did different ways as well. Marta says, if you imagine your protrusion to be less than half of the shape radius around that, your longest edges won't be the proper solution. Wait, what? If you imagine your protrusion to be less than half of the shape radius, your longest edges won't be the proper solution then. I'm just counting probability. Like if you exclude the largest, if you check larger areas, the chance of hitting something is just bigger. So, but maybe I'm wrong. But again, this challenge is absolutely impossible for me. I can't realize even a little approach about how to surround the problem. Yeah, I'm actually doing the thing right now, and I can show you. This is what I did. I would draw every line. I would check every line, that segment that exists. And then if it would be outside of the area, it's green. If it's like in the general area but doesn't intersect it, I make it blue. And if it would intersect with it, I make it red. So that's how I approach it. I just checked every line. And if it intersects with this, it goes, it becomes red. So I can show you here on the test case. So this was one of the biggest area that you can make out of the points. And then I check every line, and this one goes through it. So that means it wouldn't be covered. So I just do that for every one of them. And as soon as you don't draw a red line, you have your shape. Luke says, I just calculated the green outline and checked versus that. Baldigan says, where can I practice to get almost the pinnacle of your knowledge? I've been coding for 30 years. And if you code long enough, and I think I have an average of more than 10 hours a day for my entire life, probably, just do it a lot and you'll get better and better. And I still learn new stuff every time. So there are way better coders in here, people with specialized knowledge that I don't understand. But I just love programming. I got good at coding because I just love doing it. And I have a quirk that if I'm interested in something, I need to know how it works, just down to the deepest level, because I'll just keep wanting to know more and more and more until I fully understand it. And that also drives a lot of learning. So if I use something, I can't just accept that it's a black box and it works. I need to know how it works. So I'm fine using black boxes as long as I can make it myself. Baldigan says, you mean like do like little projects or make a mix of projects and logic challenges? Yeah, but like the best way to learn programming is to solve solutions for yourself, because that means you'll have the motivation to finish it because you can see the benefit of it. If you just do something just to code, it won't, you won't have the proper motivation to overcome hurdles and challenges. And like it's the same like playing, learning to play guitar, right? You can't expect to be a master musician after a year of playing guitar, but you'll notice if you keep at it, you keep getting better and better and better and better and better. And it's the same with programming. If you just keep doing it, and especially if you surround yourself with other people that do it that you can learn from. That's why I really love my Discord and all the people here in chat. I'll go over it after I've done fixing my code. Just reading and looking what everybody else did and what their thoughts were behind it. You just learn, and I learn every time. So Spectrum says, I won't give it away on chat, but the solution I used is used in a lot in game dev. Yeah, that's also like an area that you can learn a lot of. And every area of programming, you can learn very specific things that you can then apply to other things. So the best advice I have, if you want to get better at programming, is just to program more. And you'll get better from its own. G says, this puzzle is pretty much similar to a problem from earlier years. So if you already solved some other ASC problems before, then this one will become much easier. Maybe, yeah. Let's see, let me just solve this first. I was putting the visualize code on a separate thing so that we can share that. I think that is true here, and I shouldn't do a using here. I just need to make sure that I define the bitmap. And I did a lot of drawing for Advent of Code stuff. Not for Advent of Code. I did a lot of GDI plus stuff. So like whipping out a visualization is very easy for me. But if you haven't done this before, it could be like, okay, how do I do this again? But yeah, it's fairly easy. But it's also when you do lots of things, it becomes harder to judge what other people will find hard. That's also what you see in this Advent of Code year. There have been 2 days where people, everybody in the Discord were like, oh, today was so easy. And I completely struggled and couldn't finish it. So, yeah. Balticon says, yes, I realized that I'm programming for the university and not my own. Every time I did something that caught my attention and interested me, I managed to develop it. Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I remember there's like a Dutch telecourse thing called LOI, where you could get like certificates. So I remember that I was programming for a few years, but I have no formal education in programming. Everything I know is self-taught. And I was like, I know I can code. I know that I can code pretty well, but I have nothing that proves, that says that I can code. So I did a course just to get a certificate that said, hey, you can code. And I totally went overboard with it, because it was like at some point you had to make something that would let you define cuts on like a wooden board that you could then send off to a sawmill. And I designed the UI in Photoshop with like metal reflections, and I disabled every default thing in the Windows UI so that it would draw my own UI elements. And I wrote a server end so that it would actually accept orders, and like I did so much more than was just the problem. But that's just because I really like coding, and it's like, okay, this challenge is boring. Let's make it into something cool. And yeah, if you just try to find challenges even in stuff that you don't like doing, you'll have fun. I did that even when working as a programmer. And maybe this is not the best career advice, but it might be the best long-term advice, is just, even if you have to do the most boring stuff, make sure that you find a way to make it interesting for you in a way. So yeah. Waddingen says, I'm trying to develop from the Advent.js from MeduDev, a Spanish developer stream. Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, I think there will be, because there's also like the lead code thing I've seen people talk about and I've seen videos about. So there are multiple things like this advent of code thing where you can find programming. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Programming challenges that you can do. But again, says, amazing that you learned all by yourself. Me too, but keeping stuck in the same knowledge sends me to stay demotivated. Yeah, you have to find a way and challenge a way to challenge yourself and make fun, and you'll get over it. I'm sure. If you really enjoy programming, you'll get there. I'm 100% sure of it. Now let me write code so that I can go home to my wife before 10 a.m. 10 p.m. That's what I promised her. At least I'm trying. So let's see. We have this part here, and I need to return the bitmap. Actually, return BMP. So this is just the visualizer, and that should be fine. Yeah, this is the visualized stuff here. So what I wanted to do, I can remove all of this. Sure, this is just a visualized code function. Fine. Bodegon says, thanks a lot, Bo. I see you listening in the background. Thanks, appreciate it. And I hope to see you soon. And if you do the advent of code stuff, share it. G says, nice. I'm not very good at JavaScript, so AOC is easier for me. But if you are learning, then any challenge that fits you is good to do. Yeah. Let's see. Part 2. If visualize, I can remove this thing right now. Because I have a function for that. This area ID can be removed as well, except, yeah, sure. Boom, 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 boom. Implementation here is all fine. Square, bool match, that is also good. We have a variables there. The test debug right line stuff, that is also fine. The scale we can remove, and the drawing stuff and the filling stuff can be removed. That can be removed. This one here. Can remove this. We can also remove this. And we probably should remove all this test stuff as well, because the visualize stuff also has all these debug test things. So we can just leave empty code blocks here and make it faster. No intersection. So this is just an empty logic block. I think it's better to be explicit about these cases so that you don't miss something or do something else. Like, you want to be explicit and do nothing here, so just put in an empty else block with a comment in it, just so that you don't make a mistake there. Okay. Does not intersect. Okay, boom. This we can remove, this we can remove, I think one of these as well. 2 of them, sure. And then we can say visualize, and this will be area. Print debug false. Image size 1000 was fine, and then we can also just save as boom, part2.png, like this. Sure. This would be area. Square, square, I need to call it square. Square, sure. And I can also just do a control thing here, bool test. This can be a const, bool test is false. Save image is false. So I can just put this behind a check here as well. If save image, and then we have the visualizer there. Boom, 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 boom. We can remove all of this code as well. Cleans up nicely. What's the issue here? Did I remove one of these too many? No. Okay, let's see. What's the issue? Value min1 cannot be converted. Yeah, sure, because we need to have the answer here. Let me take the answer, bloop, and put it in the task case here as well. That is fine. Let's make sure that we define them as longs. Actually, that's the nice way to do it. Be explicit. That is also good, and we don't need to convert this to ulong. I do need to wrap this. Okay, like this. This is fine. Will this complain? Yeah, the surface thing here, we don't need a ulong, we can just be a long. And then I need to make sure that I do this one here, and this function can also just be a long. We don't need ulongs here, but we do need to convert them like this. So, okay. I have the tendency normally to, when you will only deal with unsigned numbers, so positive numbers, to go for unsigned variables. But the thing is that most of the .NET framework is not, it will assume that you use assigned stuff normally, so you run into that from time to time. And then there's also like the mixing of types, so sometimes it's just easier to make it longs, just to play nice with everything else. So I think this is pretty much it. I'm still wondering, because I did some things that I would like to put into a function to like compare. I should probably make the square thing here into their own type, and then it just consists of those two grid locations, and then have all the math there to like also create like a line, so you can define a line and then have all these helpers here to like define them in order, like so that you can then do the math of the overlap and intersect stuff. But I think I will leave it at this for now. This one can be gone as well. So let me run this one more time. So it should like snap like this. Once it starts to debug, where's my code? Okay, boom, boom. And that is wrong. Cool, I killed it. Did I just, did I just kill it? What happened? What just happened? Okay, let's run this again. What did I do? It says 4, but it also doesn't break because it's wrong, so I'm flabbergasted. Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot, I think. Right. Let me see. I did this, I did this, I did if match. I got here, P2 is set, and I said break. If match, match, break. Okay. Still don't know why this didn't trigger, but I did something very wrong. Now I wonder what. How is this possible? What did I break? Ah, phew. I thought I was losing my mind, but with the restructuring and removing the accolades from the output drawing, I actually accidentally removed one too many. Sweet, let's solve the problem again. The thing that I'm running in release mode here. Why do I have this back on release mode? So that's why it didn't catch this one, debug.assert. That also doesn't catch when you run release debug mode. So, okay. So it runs, it's fast, it's proper. Let's commit this code finally and then move on to what you guys did. Day 9, part 2, refactored, added, visualized logic. Okay. Push. Okay. Done. Tie a bow around it. Finished. Validated it all. Let's see what everybody else did. Pum, 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 pum. That's what yep. Sure, blah, blah, blah. Challenge today. Did somebody? No code yet. Figuring out the geometry algorithms again and then implementing everything clean enough to not shoot myself in the foot, but reasonably fast. Okay. Rust. I should probably just disable streamer mode because this one is 9th prime. Should I tag them? Checking this on stream now. Boom. So if they want, they can at least get a heads up. Let's see. Luke Liney says, but I'm glad you took some extra time. Now I can see a review of my code. Yeah. Let's see. This was Rust, right? Yes. Okay. We split, we parse it, and then convert it into a vector. What are all the underscores here? Curious about that. Let's see if it's not 2, so defensive programming again, like, okay, if I split and it's not 2 items inside of that, we have an issue. X1, okay. We have a rectangle class from a 2-tile, a line, an orientation, degenerate, diagonal. I like that, degenerate. It's like, that would be like a mistake in parsing or something. I like calling it degenerate. Or is that something that I'm missing? Let's see, intersects, match self-orientation, other orientation. Okay. Is anybody familiar with the name degenerate for an orientation? Curious what this is, like what this mapping is. So this is when they're both horizontal, both vertical, horizontal versus vertical and vice versa. Not sure what these ones are. But basically this is all logic to check if it intersects. I think I've solved that fairly cleanly with my code, though it's a bit verbose, but actually I could have just done this and it would still be fine. Oh, no. I need to do this and this. Never mind. I'll shut up. Let's see. So this is just all the intersection logic. Let's move on to the more macro of the solution. X and Y are equal. Doesn't this mean it's a single point? If start and x, if these are equal, so this just means it's the same thing, right? Vertical, else. So, okay. Sure. Contains points. Still intersection logic, rectangle. Let's see. Area. Yeah. Same logic there. Line passes through. Lines. Self.inner.lines.inner any intersection. Sure, just check if there's a line through it. Extra corners. What does that do? Self tile. Okay, not sure what this one does. This constructs like this is similar to the zip code that just combines a window of 2 over the whole line to get all the lines, and then they add this is the same thing that I do, just make the last one and wrap them around. Must be huge. Okay. Line contains point. Odd crossings on border odd crossing. Okay. I'm missing some of the nuance here, but I don't want to get stuck in it too long, so I'll just go over it fairly quickly now. Largest rectangle inside polygon. Okay. Let's see, what does this do? Rectangles descending, south points, iterate flat map, point skip time. Sort unstable by area compared to area reverse. Okay. So did they convert the entire polygon into rectangles? That would be cool. So rectangles descending, there is none, some extra corners. Don't get the extra corner stuff. If they don't contain, sure, if line any passes through, I would think that if they have a line passing through it, that it wouldn't do that there. Large strings, okay. I'm missing some parts of the solution, but I will move on for now. Let's see, we even had that in school. Bubbles are easy when imagining the bubbles quick, so it was okay. Like me then, I went to electrician school, so the worst I had to deal with were power computations with imaginary numbers. She says, I just reached home after a long day at work. Time to work on part 2. I'm so dead. Okay, I guess if I didn't have done something before in a different year, it would be really hard. It still isn't that easy though. Yeah, for sure. It was a tough one. Remembering a few buzzwords to help me researching everything again was extremely helpful. Done it as well. Now I just work on making it at least somewhat fast. G says, I have lots of printing and writing to log file. So the run took about 10 seconds for part B. Too lazy to reduce it for now. Time for cooking and eating lunch. This could be the hardest one of this year, while in theory it's not that difficult. Actually, it might be yes. Yes, very difficult. Might take 24 hours to solve this. I think I know the math of it. I just don't know how to translate it to code. I'm just happy that I found a solution to do this in somewhat nice time. Let's see. I'm at this code. Let's see. We have record structs. After yesterday's chat with Smap, I see new things introduced. Marta says, I've made a mess of the code since I posted it first, but it's faster now. Okay. I can go back to a previous commit if you want me to look at that one. Let's see. Point with potential. Point with potential. Okay. Point long best area. Okay. Vertical edge. Okay. Okay. So this basically is the thing that I do, like checking if it's a horizontal or vertical line, and just take one less to store there. But it says, I left the old intersection code, just not calling it. Okay. Solve part one, file operation. Okay, we can skip over that. File operation, how many boxes have we count? Blah, 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 points. Area cap computation. Get the biggest area. So this would be part one, right? Yeah, solve part one. Sure. Just straight up get all the this is basically get all the combinations of two and then check them. Solve part two. What did we do? We skipped the file up. Let's see. To save memory, count all edges. We could just allocate count edges and call it if by counts the number of edges should be equal. Good place to check for scan bugs. Okay. Let's see. Okay, basically a zip. Nice. You actually counted the difference. Okay. So you could have also already done the optimization into horizontal and vertical edges here as well. Because you already check it here, might as well load it that way as well. Let's see, horizontal edge, stack load, sure. Use stack memory, vertical edge count. What to say, couldn't because I did not have a buffer to load them into. Okay. Let's see. Source vertical SOA. What does SOA stand for? Jesus, I'm finishing dinner now, but mostly listening and not much reacting for. Yeah, no worries. I'll wrap this up fairly soon, I think. Marta says, it's the whole point of counting before allocating, and vertical edges are for AVX. That's what looks different than just X record struct override. Okay. I know that you're like optimizing for memory, but it just makes it a bit more harder to read because there's so much stuff going into optimizing things that it takes away from the clarity of the solution. But yeah, I understand that it's your challenge, so I understand. Let's see. Look through all of that. What does this do? So this makes it positive. aggressive inlining, nice. Area. I thought you already had help. But you changed that probably, right? Because you already had like logic for. You have these record structs, but you don't use them in the actual code anymore. Let's see. If the best area for this point is less than the current max area, quit early. Sure. So you didn't choose to. Okay. So you just did them in random order, basically, and then processed all of them, right? I would assume that you would like get all the areas and then do the biggest ones and go back, but knowing the shape, it might be faster. Boom, 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 boom. Inspect area, break. Read down the top of the points. Construct rectangle from 2 points, min max. Martin says, no, I checked what is the maximum any point can make, so the biggest rectangle possible with that point as one corner. Okay. But this is the part 2 solve, right? So yeah, like you have to know the area and then if it can work. But let's see, simple one is here as well. So to have by the compute area first. If it's smaller than max, there's no point in checking edge crossing. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you're, you take the bounding box and a point and make 4 rectangles. Biggest one is the best area. Sure, but you need to. Okay. I probably need to see a visualization of the algorithm because it probably does something else than I would expect it, which is why I'm probably lost with the reasoning here. Did you plan to make a visualization for it? I wouldn't mind it. Because like for me, the way to do it would be just go from largest to smallest. When you find the first one that works, you don't have to check the others. But you do it in a way that you can find areas, but the larger area could still be out there. So you don't have like the initial search space sorted by largest area first, so that you know that the first time you find something that would work, that you can stop processing. So you're probably doing something else that's smart, but I don't fully see it yet. Edge crosses, rect interior. Okay. So you do check. Those are the functions left. I only call the AVX. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Edge crosses react interior. Oh wow. Okay. I'll have to have a one-on-one and go through this, because this it will take me too long to comprehend right now. But looks like you're heading in Steve's direction. This is above my pay grade. I like the bit mask idea, but I have to be able to visualize it to fully understand it. And Marta says there's also the idea of sorting. I only check edges to the right and down of a triangle's edge. Okay, of a rectangle's edge. Sorry. I want to have a chat with you about this later. I'll move on for now, so that I hopefully can keep the promise to my wife that I'll be home in time. Somewhat. She'll probably still be mad, but I'm trying. Let's see. Nice solution you have there. I must say I checked all the tiles instead. I set memory constraints on myself, so all tiles was out of reach. The geometry solution was the only one I thought of. Okay. Probably to condense it himself. My final grid is like 250k of floor space. Can't even show the image, but don't know if that would be a massive spoiler. Okay, it might be a spoiler indeed, but you can mark the image as spoiler, so it would be fine. One I know. Okay, let's see. Spectrum, your code is up. Spectrum is on YouTube right now, I think. So there's a lot of game dev stuff in here. So let's see. We parse it out. We get all the unique combinations. Turn it into a vector 2D. Area is x times. Okay. If area is larger than part 1, sure. So I was looking like to get the area, you need to +1 the difference, but they already do that here. So it's a different way of doing the +1, because they use vector 2.1, which adds it. So yeah, makes sense. That was part 1. Part 2 is this is a zip of all the edges. Intersects, edge min. Yeah, intersect thing there. Let me see, part 2 for each tiles, vector min, bad is false for each edge. If it intersects, bad is true. Sure, if bad continue, else we have the answer here. Yeah, pretty much the same as I did, just written cleanly. Nice. Let's see. Sure, we could just wait. Okay. May post an image after the stream. It's not very spoilerish, as it's not an animated GIF. Okay. Look, your code is up. Let me copy paste it into my Visual Studio program. Bloop, and get some highlighting KD for formatting. Okay, let's see. Sure, let's see. We have a dictionary of locations, serve cache. Okay. Parse input, calculate service cache. Okay. Let's see what that does. Oh, let's not delete it. Let's just boom. Red tiles. Okay. Sure. You can use the +1 trick to stay one ahead and then get all the like. Boop. Like if you do a loop like this, you don't have to check for 2 keys, so you will just get the unique combinations. So that might be a nice trick to add to the bag. But then it does the area. Sure. Okay. Let's see. Let's do part 1 first. I think it's just order by, sure, yeah, makes sense. Part 2, full outline, okay, red tiles at add. Let's see. What does this do exactly? It just makes a copy of the tiles, right? Full line is a green line, okay. This generates the polygon basically. Sure. I was trying to understand what you did, but this just makes a continuous line based off of points. Got it. Let's see. Let's see. X is map previous X. Long X and that. What does this do? I don't quite get it. Would this would draw this also adds a line. Okay, I'll just continue for now. Let's see, valid IDs, that subscription by descending. Sure. Outline that any. Okay, this is the intersection. So these are the different types. I don't fully understand the difference between the line and the outline, why they are checked differently. Because it compares to points and... I first check outline, much less data source. Okay. Okay. I probably have to see the thing that you can explain to me later what the full outline thing is. That's I at a glance I don't understand the difference between the outline and the full outline, but you can tell me later. I won't keep everybody waiting. That's a me issue. Let's see. Boom. Okay. Oh yeah, and then was this the updated version or the one with the original time here? Because I remember reading that you made it faster. Started one-liner P2 started this morning, made the mistake of not reading very well, then had to do some client work. After reading again, I was actually pretty once again. Okay, that's the updated one. Okay. So what did you do? You had like the first check is what made it faster, I guess then. Let's see, 25 milliseconds for part 2. Nice. This is when I timed part 2. 10 seconds is still fast enough for advent of code. I suppose the time is the largest one. I think anyone within a minute is great. Cool. Still above the magic 1 millisecond, but getting there. Yeah, I think Steve has infested you with the performance bug. So let's bloop that one. Nice. I haven't timed mine yet, but I'll make sure to add one later. Still lunching. When my answer is correct, I'm happy. Yeah. Look at it this way, your solution keeps you moving. Good for your health. Is he planning to stream? Oh, yeah, got that. Hard to say, no fixed schedule. Sorry, everybody. I'll try to make it, but I'll probably have dinner around that time. Sorry, I'm so difficult to catch live. Yes, usually stream around the same time. Solution, it takes 5 seconds. Oh yeah, I saw something about that as well. Sure, tiny optimization. Yeah, big optimization. Luke says, I added a check to exclude all squares where a red tile is in the area. That's a lot faster since there are much less red tiles. Ah, okay. Okay. Because then the odds of having a conflict there is faster. Can't do much more than that. 1.5 milliseconds. Maybe Steve can look at it and give you another performance tip. Geez, finally solved it. Nice. Only took 10 hours. Yeah, I've had those days before, man. I'm happy that I got it somewhat reasonable time. My mistake was waiting a bit more time. Okay. Part 2 takes, what did he say? 2.3 seconds. Oh, that's still fine. Let's see. I think Luke said as well, you're not supposed to put your inputs on here because that's one of the things that Eric asks, like, keep your inputs private, and that's usually mostly so that people just can gather all the inputs and make a dupe of it, and yeah, just gotta respect that. Sure, you just update it with Max. Like something like this seems elegant, reads elegantly, right? You just update it every time with the max between those two instead of having an if and then update. This reads a lot more cleaner. There's much less cognitive load to understand this. This is very quick, dirty, gets to the point. I like it. Might not be the most optimal, but I don't know what the impact of this would be, but at least it reads very clean. And for Python, I think it's probably prefer to write it like this over having an extra if statement there. So because that's like one of the things that I really like about the Python thing. Usually it's very condensed just to the actual logic. I like that. I might become a Python dev in the end. Let's see, is valid rectangle XY? Sure. I did the same thing here. This is like too big to turn it into like the top left, bottom right thing. For I in range N. Section check. Area smaller than answer. Okay. So I wonder why. Well, maybe it's just I would have to time it, but like going at it blind and just getting the random values. I think taking the approach of calculating all the areas and just doing the biggest ones first saves you from having to do everything, which is basically this. But yeah, I would have to time the difference. But yeah, it reads like when you see a solution like this. Oh, this is part 2. You're like, oh, how hard could it be? This is like 5 minutes of typing, right? That's never about the time you take typing. It's about the struggle you have to get to that solution. Because the files you saw, as I said, it took him 10 hours. So yeah, looks really clean in the end though. So yep. Streaming, Nineberry. Let's see what Nineberry did. Boom, movie theater. I get so caught up in stuff that I forget to put in the thematic names, but it's really nice when you get. I like seeing it because it brings back the story and remembers that it's more than just a code problem. Nightmare says you don't see the stuff that was typed and then deleted. Yeah, for sure. Get biggest rectangle inside loop. Sure. Move to your lead lines, add border lines. Okay. Get biggest rectangles at first, at area. Okay, because these are sorted. Yes, these are sorted by area. Sure. Rectangles at first is inside loop area. Yeah, because this one is already sorted. Like the areas are sorted by, or the rectangles are sorted by area. So the biggest one is good. So the first one that matches is the one you want. I still think that's the best way to do it. But is inside loop. Okay. Min rectangle x min. Okay. With all the helper classes that you did, I would probably add a function to just spit out a new thing with the top left, bottom right combination. But check corners inside a loop is point inside loop, new point. So then you don't also have to keep recreating the points. Mate says you only need to store all the rectangles. Yeah, RAM is not free. I know. You could just no. Yeah. You could do a pre-cheat warm-up where you just reorder everything. No. Let's see. Check corners inside loop is not a point inside. Is point inside loop? Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like where I did the full line as a check. This is probably also what Luke did. That maybe not made me click. You check individual points first. Sure. And then check edges inside loop and then outside fully probably. Yep. Okay. We need to use lines without corners because intersecting with corners does not leave the loop. Okay. By corners you mean the sides. Direction down. Okay. Kind of horizontal and vertical. Okay. Point inside loop. Make rectangles. This is all the combinations. Sure. Add borderline. Okay. Okay, I think we have everything there. G says, I store basically the tile floor in memory. You'll see that later in chat. Nice. Let's see. While the stream is going, I can probably just post this file here as basically the visualization of the input, despite, as SMAP UK said, it's very large. If you compress it, it's not that much. View this text file with very small font and you can see how my tile floor looks like. There is a trick here, obviously, so that it fits on screen, but that's something you have to guess. So zip text file, the zip version like 2K, 240K, okay, like a zip bomb. I won't do that here because it will jumble stuff in my Windows environment because I have multiple desktops open and we've had that issue before. But I believe you. I think we've seen, it's probably this thing, right? Cool shape, wouldn't expect less from Eric. Thanks for the visualization. Sarah, okay. I'll just checking this now on stream. Pretty sure I didn't see her in stream, but just notification for when they want to see it. Let's see. Day 9, part 1, tiles length, area, sure. New area, math, max, best area size. Okay, return best, sure. This is similar to the Python thing, right? Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I would just store the result of these ordered and then use that to defeat part 2, but let's see. This is all the lines. Boom, boom, boom. Combination of all of them. Okay, it just it does the area again. Don't know what resize -1 means. Okay. Return areas ordered by the settings. All lines, no line intersect with area. Probably to count. This shrinks the edges by 1 so that you don't count. That's what I did before when I had my intersection with all the smaller or equals combinations. If you just strip it out, it's fine. Marta says that's the idea you were talking about. Create all of them and return the largest valid. Yeah. Yeah, but what I meant was like in part 1 you already do this, so you could do the sort of this, then take the first one as your part 1 and then use this again without having to reconstruct it all. But they do an extra step of resizing it to make the intersection easier for them. So yeah. P and Q. So yeah, because they shrink it 1, they can just do all the smaller ones instead of the overlap thing there. Nice, very clean. I like it. Let me jump back to this one. How can I jump back there? Okay. I like it. Just to answer to your question, Chad, I think my correct solution includes one of the 2 points from protrusion. The problem is that for the other corner you need to check too many points for each of the combinations. Okay, we assume so because we saw the shape. To be honest, I was expecting it to have the shape of a maze. I haven't even visualized it yet. Okay, the shape looked like a ball, but there are some notches and nozzles that I've enlarged in my shape. That makes not all candidates equal. Actually, I'd say the correct solution should contain one of those points, but the second one, not sure, maybe, but that depends on where it lands on either side of the triangle. One of those protrusion points. Maybe we'll see Nick's rectangle and see how it is. Yeah. Good luck. I'm off to dinner. Enjoy. Okay, check it. Okay, I think we're caught up. So yeah, I think that's it. Was a fun problem today. I was sweating it a little bit when I read part 2, but it seems fine. So let me check Advent of Code tag to see who else is doing Advent of Code, to see if we can rate somebody. Do I have somebody open? We can do like Lennis and rate him back. Let's see. So I think I've inspire you. G says, good luck. I can't be here tomorrow or Thursday, so see you soon. Okay. Let me unmute.
As this guy who's saying like I have to look up a solution. Okay. I feel like
let's go rate him and say hi.
Figure out.
So thanks everybody. Come and say hi at like Lennis, and then
look up how you
see you again hopefully tomorrow. Let's go say hi. Bye bye.
How you can fill an area using 2D points that form, but I don't even know what you would call the shape because it's not a polygon. If you're not using, well, maybe it is a polygon. In case you